A forensic expert taking the stand today with some dramatic testimony in the high-profile case of Casey Anthony, the murder trial. The entire case could now hinge on a single strand of hair. Our power panel with us now, Fox News legal analyst Wiehl, Daily Caller columnist and Fox News contributor Deneen Borelli, and New York Post columnist Kirsten Powers. Thank you all for joining us.
I love the power part of that panel.
Yes, we're the power women today.
All right.
So let's talk first about something everyone is talking about. I mean, really, the attention that this case is getting, unparalleled. The murder case of Casey Anthony. Today, an FBI expert said that the hair found in the trunk of her car had evidence of an apparent decomposition, though unable to say that it actually matched the hair of the deceased toddler, Kaylee.
It's one more big piece into this puzzle, that, you know, why is this decomposing hair in there? And I think it's really good to be getting this kind of evidence, the air sample and the hair sample both. But I think what this case is going to come down to more is really the way she's reacted to her daughter's going missing and then finally her death. The lying and lying again. And, you know, mothers know that you would never do that. If your child is missing, gone missing, you would do anything. You would throw yourself on the train tracks to get information to the police or get information to the, her parents. She did none of that.
You wouldn't sit in jail complaining that people didn't feel bad for you.
They're not being nice enough to me.
Yeah, Deneen, what do you think?
Well, this is, my heart goes out to this poor little girl. It's such a sad and tragic event that happened. But I know a lot of people are very focused on this case. People are drawn into these sensationalized cases, O.J. Simpson, you name it, Michael Jackson. But for me personally, I think there should be more of a focus on what is wrong with our country. High unemployment, high gasoline prices. I think this is the information that people should be seeing
it is kind
and
of
commenting
telling,
on a regular basis.
Well, you can walk and chew gum at the same time, though. I mean, we can be concerned about those big economic issues, but this really hits the heart of a lot of people, especially women, who are saying, what mother would act like that?
Yeah, and Kirsten, we don't want to leave you out. Feel free to hop in with what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not one of the people that follows these kinds of cases. I know a little bit about it. I see it here and there. It's very tragic. But I think, Lisa's right that it does capture people's attention because, most people are parents. And I think, particularly for mothers, they look at this and they think, how could this be? You see pictures of her partying after, her daughter's missing. It's very disturbing. And I think that you have this sort of natural desire to understand, like, what makes this woman tick? What is going on here?
Yeah, it really is unbelievable.
Well, remember the Scott Peterson case. There was so much international and national attention on that. And I covered that case in California. What I found was that people were so interested because the women thought, there but for the grace of God go I. I mean, who am I sleeping with?
Right.
And here, moms are thinking, what kind of mother would do that? And yet you look at Susan Smith, Andrea Yates. I mean, Heather, it does happen, as horrible as it is.
Yeah, I'm from North Carolina, so the Susan Smith case happened there. And we're actually going to move to another case going on in the great state of North Carolina. Former Democratic candidate and North Carolina Senator John Edwards indicted for misusing nearly $1 million in campaign cash to pay the expenses of his mistress, Wiehl Hunter. So this case definitely coming down, what is it, six counts on Friday.
Right, 6 counts on Friday. It's going to be a tough case for the prosecution because it's really, it's a novel approach. Usually campaign finance goes, the campaign finance fraud, the money goes through the campaign. Here it did not. But there are a lot of indications that, used broadly, that this law could work to convict Edwards.
And people just, right now, they don't like him. And that's not really going to play to his advantage.
Whatever the outcome of this, he has lost the battle with the opinion of the public people. He has clearly lost that battle. And think about it, he could have been president of the United States, but the man is a liar. He's a cheater, and my question is, I wonder if he was lying before the hundreds of jurors that he's been before pleading his case.
Well, he's a lawyer, trial lawyer, so of course he was lying. I mean, come on, please.
You said that, not me.
But that's very concerning. It's very concerning.
Well, Kirsten, what do you think? So we know that he's a cheater, and we know that he's a liar. Does he also steal?
Well, you know, it's one of these things where I think most people would be perfectly happy to see him go to jail because he's such a smarmy character and he's done so many bad things. The question is whether he broke the law, and you know, I can't really speak that specifically to the law other than what I've read, which is it sounds that they're using somewhat arcane campaign finance law that makes it a little bit difficult for them to pin him down on this.
Well, if the prosecution, though, can show that money was spent to cover up the affair to benefit his campaign, not necessarily anything to do with his wife or his family, but to benefit his campaign. And I think they can make a good argument with that, because had that scandal really broken, you know, wide open, but while he was still running, well, then there would be no presidential campaign, of course. So, you know, these donors wanted to help him after the $400 haircut, do whatever they could. I mean, I'm not even making that up. That's
I forgot about the $400 haircut. Yeah, that made news.
The Ken doll.
Yeah. So, I mean, it definitely benefited. It would have definitely hurt otherwise.
Well, he would have been out of the race.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you agree?
You know, the rules apply to everyone. No one is above the law.
Well, coming up next, everyone stay with us, because we're going to talk about New Jersey's Governor Christie taking heat for a helicopter ride. At first, he said it was all part of the state's business, but now he has cut a check to cover the expense. Could it hurt the governor's image of being fiscally fit? Our panel will weigh in on that up next. More now, we're at our power panel. Fox News legal analyst Wiehl, Daily Caller columnist, and Fox News contributor Deneen Borelli, and New York Post columnist Kirsten Powers. After taking some heat, we mentioned this before the break, for using a state police helicopter to get to his son's baseball game, not really a bad thing. Governor Christie says that he will pay for the related expense of using it out of his own pocket. So how do we feel about this, Lisa?
Well, this is a new definition for helicopter parent.
Yeah.
You know, the one that hovers.
That hovers around.
Literally. But as a mom of a little leaguer, I completely understand that need to get there, and good for him. But he probably shouldn't have been using state funds doing it, especially when he comes out and is, you know, very fiscally conservative and saying, you know, we have to be so careful. So he's doing the right thing here, cutting a check.
Yeah, I feel for any hardworking parent who has, you know, has to balance the personal life with the work life. I feel for them. But however, this was a very poor decision, a poor choice on his part. And he's paid it back, but I think that was only after the fact, because he got caught.
You know, but he didn't apologize for going to his son's baseball game.
No, and you know what? I don't blame him for that. I think that was smart, because what he said in his press conference, something like his son said, "Thanks, Dad, for being there." Well, you know what? I wish there were more dads that were like that really would just do almost anything to come to a baseball game or whatever, soccer match for their kids.
Yeah, Kirsten, what do you think?
Major no, you do not do this. You know, if he was going to do it, he should have up front said, I will be reimbursing for it. You know, I think it's one of these things that if he wasn't so popular in the media, he would just be completely decimated for it. It's just not something you're ever supposed to do.
Yeah, but not the first to do it, though, by any means.
No, certainly not. But it's just really, you know, you're just never supposed to use government property for personal use unless you reimburse for it.
All right, so quickly, our final story here. It took almost 20 years, but the U.S. Department of Agriculture, they're ditching that heavily criticized food pyramid, you know, in favor of a less complicated food plate, all at a cost of $2 million. Why did this cost $2 million? That's what I want to know. I think I could have drawn that.
Well, my 8th grader could have drawn that. Absolutely. But the other thing I want to know is, I mean, I don't like the pyramid thing anyway. I could never figure that out. But who eats on a plate like that? I mean, in a regular family, right?
Yeah.
We're all kind of running around. Do we really have this little, I mean, I understand the idea, but $2 million on this?
Yeah. Deneen?
Where's the graphic of Obama chowing down on 2 chili dogs and fries the day after this came out in the news?
Everything in moderation.
That's what I want.
Chili
He
dog
didn't get the memo.
Okay.
Yeah. People are going to eat whatever they want. This boils down to personal responsibility.
Right.
And this is a waste of tax dollars.
Yeah. What do you think, Kirsten?
I actually think, you know, I don't know why it costs so much money to do it, but I do think it's a lot more easy to understand than the pyramid. And it's, you know, by looking at a plate and seeing what you need, it's kind of interesting that they're not telling you that you need meat, you just need protein. You know, so I actually think it's pretty helpful.
Yeah, but some of the health experts say that it doesn't go far enough and that it's too simple.
Right. Well, and the thing is, too, take the example of the chili dog.
Yeah.
If you partition that out, but you could find places in the plate for the chili dog.
Yeah.
But, you know, as a working mom, I'm thinking, I'm sorry, my plates don't look like that every night.
Well, President Obama worked it off on the golf course, I'm sure. So thank you all so much. We appreciate you joining us for this power panel. That was great fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Greg?